Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today I'm actually getting into another unboxing, but also too with a little bit of context to this as well. So this is I actually have two watches here, one that I have for a while, and then this one right here is a brand new one. So this is the Casio F91W, and this is like a tried and true classic, your basic digital watch. And the reason why I bought this is a little bit old. I had this one for now, maybe about 2.5 years, maybe. Now, I actually purchased this one for my son because one of my sons he saw some of my watches and he was into watches. You see, it's got a little bit of old crustiness. I got to wash it. But he was into watches. And so I had purchased him this, but he was way too young at that time. He was I would say like maybe a little under 4 or just at 4. So obviously he was too young to kind of really get into a watch. But now he is, well, both of my sons now, one of them was into it. I have twins and one of them is 7 now. Well, I'm sorry, both of them is 7 now. But I meant to say I bought one of them I got another watch now because the other one who was less into the watch at the time, and I bought this one because he was into the watch, the other one wasn't into the watches, and now they're at an age where they could both wear a watch, so I wanted to get something similar. And I bought this one's slightly different though, but the price, and I'm going to put a link in the description for both of these. Usually this is the most affordable Casio watch and it's a classic. This one right here, which we're going to get into, which is the F105W, was actually I think $1 cheaper, and is probably a better model if you are able to get it. And so I'll put this stuff to the side really quickly. And all these basic Casio watches are for the most part the same. I think they're amazing watches. And I'm going to get into a little bit of also some of my thoughts when it comes to certain type of watches as well, especially versus smartwatches. I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day that I want to get into. Actually, the one who recently, if you guys followed the channel, that I was helping to find a watch and giving him a little bit of input. So here you go here. It says Illuminator. And essentially you have the 3 buttons here, and it has the date and the time. And it is a calendar watch, but you're not going to see the month on there. But when you're putting it in, you're putting in the month. So it knows how many days are inside the month, but you only see it as, the day and the date. So, which is good. I don't know what all these different things mean on it as far as like that whole thing there. That might be the chime. I think that is the hourly chime, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, they're pretty much the same watch. So like I said, link's going to be description for both. This one doesn't say the model name on the watch. Interesting. But there you see F105. They say W on it, but F105, you should be able to find it. Now, this one is a little bit bulkier than the F91, but not by much. But the big factor why I would say they pretty much have the same band as well. The big factor I would say that's a difference between the two, and not to make this a comparison video really, but is this one's light. You can't really see it that well. It goes like that. Let me try to cover it up while and you see it just comes from the side. It works when it's dark. When it's really dark, you're still going to be able to see what you're seeing. But this one lights up the entire back. So that's definitely better. And that if you can get this at the same price or a little cheaper, definitely go with this. If for whatever reason at that moment, this one is like say $5 cheaper, I would still just go with this one because they're pretty much the exact same thing. And Casio makes a bunch of different watches that are pretty much almost the similar same style when it comes to that. But what I am going to say though is, so like I said, my motivation for purchasing the watch was for my sons to be able to tell time. So both of them have a similar watch. But okay, guys, sorry, I had a little bit of interruption. But like I was saying, the motivation or the reason why I bought it was so that both my boys could have and wear these watches to tell the time on them. And I think they definitely serve that purpose if you want to get your little kids one of these kind of watches. Now, you could also get for yourself too, if you just need one to kind of beat up, even though I know most adults will probably say, I don't mind spending extra, like, you know, maybe instead of $20, $30 or $40 to get a better digital watch, maybe a little bit more beefier, because these do wear very small on the wrist, to be honest with you. But with that being said, though, definitely for a kid, these are great first watches. They give you the basics. They give you the date. They give you the time. Obviously, you could set an alarm if they got to that stage. But generally speaking, as a young kid, just to have a watch on, I think it's really important for kids to have an understanding of time and that concept of time. Because once we get to that stage in life where you're an adult, everything is about time, you know, and mastering time by not wasting your time or anything of that sort. So that really became like a key factor for why I wanted them to kind of get into it at this stage in the game. I think it was a good age for them to be able to wear a watch. Also, a little side note I wanted to get into and say and mention that when I was speaking to, when it comes to at least like in the watch culture, and I was speaking to a friend of mine the one who was interested in getting a new watch. Like I said, I did a couple of episodes revolving around that concept of helping him find a watch in that kind of, you know, luxury range, $2,000, $3,000 range. One thing I pointed out to him was that amongst people in the watch community, that having a brand, like, or they call it a fashion brand, but having a watch that is not from a watchmaker, say they do fashion type stuff like maybe clothes or something like that, and they make a watch. In the watch world, that's considered a bigger sin than someone just buying something like this. Why? Now, a watch like that might cost, say if it costs $100, $200, $300, but it's using basic cheap parts and they're only that expensive because of the name brand that's on them. This will include, like I said, fashion brands that are like, say, something like Gucci or Armani or something like that. I'm just throwing these out there, not knocking them specifically, but that those are, they're not watch companies. They don't make watch parts. So they source cheap parts to make cheap $20 or $30 watches, slap their branding on them, and then charge $200, $300 for them. So a person might go, oh, like this is a good watch. But in the watch community, most people will frown more on that. Whereas if you were to pick up something like this, it's not viewed that way because first off, you're paying $20, you're getting definitely something that's worth 20 or more than a $20 watch. It's for function. So it's not viewed as, okay, this person's trying to style, but they're buying a cheap watch and don't know anything about cheap watches. And a lot of people don't know about watches, so they're not intentionally trying to buy something bad. But I'm just saying, as far as in the watch community, that is frowned upon. In terms of, it'll be, oh, okay, that's a cheap watch. Cool, not knocking you, but they'll look at it like that's a cheap watch. For someone who's in the know, one of those kind of fashion brands. With this, you don't get knocked on because it's a utility. It's like, okay, he's wearing a watch, not because he's trying to be flashy, but he's wearing that watch because he just simply needs to be able to tell the time. He needs to go to work. He needs to just know what's going on around him by the, oh, what time it is. I got to get here. I got to pick up my kids. I got to go to work. This is when I'm getting off work. I got an appointment. And it's just a functionality thing. And no one knocks it for that. And it's very akin to the smartwatches now, like say an Apple Watch. When someone's wearing that, it breaks the mold of status in a sense. Like, you could have a person who has $1 million wearing one. You could have a person who, does a regular 9 to 5 and makes $30,000 a year and they're wearing one. But the point is that it's a utility feature. It's a utility item. So for that reason, it's not frowned upon. Now, people in the watch community sometimes frown upon smartwatches, but that's another whole point on its own. My point is, a lot of basic digital watches that serve a purpose are less frowned upon than you buying a fashion brand watch where, it's to try to look like I'm profiling, I'm styling, and there's nothing wrong with someone wanting to feel flashy. There's nothing wrong with that. But just know that amongst the people who don't know, if you buy that Michael Kors watch, that Gucci watch, or whatever the case is, amongst the other people who don't know, they're going to go, oh yeah, that's a nice watch. Once you get around people who have quality things, they would be like, I would respect you just having a basic Casio over that, because they know that you're paying maybe $200 for what's the equivalent of a $20 watch just with a branding on it. So I don't want to make this a ramble of anything like of that sort, but I just want to throw it out because I thought it was an interesting point when I made that point to my friend, that having one of these serves a functional purpose and no one really frowns upon them when it comes to that stuff. But this video was more so, like I said, just a quick unboxing, kind of little overview of both of these watches and the motivation of why I bought them, and that you guys should have a watch as well, even if it's just for the utility purpose or whether it's just a gift to your kids and you don't want to spend that much. Definitely grab yourself just a watch to always know what time it is, because that's very important in the world in terms of your everyday basis. Just you going down, you know, going by from point to point, A to B, whatever it is. As always, you guys, be safe out there. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.